Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of GunnerKing's Court. Today, I've got a very special guest, Curran, and it's great to have you on today, Curran.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to discussing
for sure.
our stories, but what I wanted to do first was just kind of give you a chance to tell everyone who you are, what you're about, and where you can be found as well. So yeah, take it away, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. So my name's Curran. I'm one of the hosts on Ball Over Passion. It's a new podcast. We just started a couple of months ago, maybe not even 2 months yet. And just a normal Arsenal fan. Really, just trying to get some content out there, trying to make the content there a bit more about the actual football on the pitch rather than just passionate narratives. Hence the name. Appreciate you having me on. GunnerKing, and hope we can have a good conversation today.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the main reason why I got you on. I think we caught each other on Twitter on a few spaces, linked through Egal and a few other fans forums as well. And yeah, I really like the way that you try and look at things a bit more objectively, remove the emotions out of it, which we can all be privy to, sort of having those moments where they do take over a bit. But yeah, I think that's what I really liked, about your guys' content. And
I appreciate it, man.
It's you guys should definitely check them out. And I'm sure that I'll be jumping on more of their shows in the future as well.
Anytime, buddy. Whenever you're free, man. Be good to have you on.
Exactly that. We work really well together. So yeah, we think there's a few stories that we wanted to discuss today, but then some general points that we wanted to make about Arsenal's transfer business and how we are conducting that so far. So first of all, guys, obviously don't forget to like the video, subscribe, follow. The Armoury TV has launched and is here now. We're part of the FTB Sports family. You've got other fans forum groups on there. But yeah, the first story that we want to get into, and this one doesn't seem to go away, and I can't lie, it's beginning to really
it's a bit draining, isn't it?
I think a bit draining is an understatement. I think Smith Rowe, it's looking like Villa are preparing a third absolutely derisory bid for the man that is Emile Smith Rowe. Reports are that Arsenal will reject it again, and I'm not surprised because for all intents and purposes, I think the contract negotiation is done. I personally think Arsenal are waiting to make a number of announcements in tandem rather than just kind of do things one-off piecemeal, really to attempt to get the fans back on board. Nothing that Smith Rowe has said or done has given the impression that he doesn't want to renew his contract. I mean, what are your thoughts on it all, Karen?
Look, I'm going to take this from a purely analytical standpoint. I'm not even going to put any emotion because the emotion is clear. The guy loves the club. The kid loves the club. He's been here since 8 years old. But you're talking about it from a purely analytical point of view. If you look at ESR, you look at the fact that he's starting in terms of at a club that is in such high regard in terms of English football. With the third, I can clearly say it, we're the third biggest club in England. He's starting. He has a manager that believes in him. He's broken through and played for consistently throughout the season. He was fostered back from his injury from the beginning of the season and he has a rapport with the manager. All of a sudden, he's suddenly going to get turned by Villa, who finished below us, don't have any European football as well. And because of their project, I mean, why would he change projects from a project that he clearly is enjoying being part of? It doesn't make any sense. And if Villa can try all they want, make a bid for 80. Make a bid for 80, and maybe we can talk. Make a bid for 85, maybe we can talk. Make a bid for 90, and we'll sit down and have a meal together. But until then, jog on. Seriously, there's no need for these bids. 35 million? No way.
It's an embarrassment. I mean, is it 2 years or a year that he's got left on his contract?
I think it's a year. I'd have to check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure I think it's a year. But maybe it's 2 years. I can't tell I can't remember off the top of my head.
Even with that, it's just an embarrassing bid, isn't it? You know, like the
It's
third one.
like
They've gone
literally.
up in like 5 mil increments with the first two, and then they've only added another 2.5 million for the third one.
For me, what it is if you look at the importance of Emile Smith Rowe at the club, a lot of the changes in the season, the second half of the season, can be attributed for the creativity and the runs that he was making in that second half of the season. You can say it all you want, Charles. European Cup holders, but when were the European Cups, mate? When was the last time you won a trophy, mate? When was the last time you even finished top 4? Like, come on. You haven't done anything this century, not decade, not year, century. So
this is the gripe, right, that I have with a lot of fans, right? You know, like, look,
Leicester fans as well are starting as well.
Yeah, we can accept, right, that Arsenal are not the Arsenal of old. They're not where they used to be. But you know, I hear people saying, "Oh, you're not a big club anymore," or you know, these clubs are getting bigger than you. Now, the first one I want to get to is I'm not going to mention the content creator's name, but I've got a particular gripe with him, a certain United fan that, you know, is constantly on his channel berating Arsenal, saying stuff, in my opinion, for clicks and views. You know, talking
It's
about
everyone, bro.
The big club anymore, but we are the third most successful club in England, and you know, we are the most successful in London. You know, European trophies aside, regardless, you know, we are the most successful London team by a long shot. And quite frankly, what happens is, you know, for the past 10 or 15 or even 20 years, we haven't been the Arsenal of old. But that doesn't mean you stop becoming a big club. What happens is other clubs get bigger and their size becomes closer to ours. But Chelsea have spent 2 decades being more dominant and still are not more successful than us. So
no,
we're a big club. Now,
not even close to being successful. Let's put it that way.
When Liverpool went 30 years without winning a league title, no one said they weren't a big club. No one was having a conversation, you know? So I just find these things hilarious. You know, I mean, Villa are a bigger club than us. Well, you know, their stadium seats 41,000 people. Ours, what, 60, 65? We've got a much bigger global brand. We generate more revenue. We've won more league titles. We've won more trophies overall. We have a larger fan base. Remind me what you were saying about Aston Villa being a bigger club than us, buddy.
Yeah, let me put it this way. So in that situation that Mr. Charles here is putting, are Celtic a bit bigger club than us because they have European trophies? Are Rangers bigger than us? Are would you say Ajax are bigger than us? I don't think any of these clubs are bigger than us because, especially Villa, mate, your only trophy is the playoff trophy in the Championship this century. Maybe if there's something else, please tell me. But the only trophy that comes to mind is the playoff Championship trophy. Your biggest players off the City. And we can talk. I mean, you beat us to Buendia. Congratulations. You paid 40 million for a player that's only thrived in the Championship and looks like a replacement for your best player. Well done.
And that's the thing as well. The whole narrative spin on that is that they beat us to the transfer, yeah. Now, I think with the Grealish talks, you know, City didn't just run up on Aston Villa and be like, we want to pay 100 million for Grealish. We're happy to have him.
No.
Those talks would have been ongoing throughout last season. You know, like through back channels, they would have been kind of tendering up the situation, inquiring about what the price would be. The structure of the deal, they would have been discussing that together, but we know that City do tend to just like to just put the money on the table, turn up with a duffel bag. So what they're doing now is they're going to lose their top prospect and they're going to want to keep fans on side. Now, on top of that, they've established themselves as a Premier League club now. Congratulations to them after 2 decades in the wilderness in the Championship and lower divisions. And what they want to do is their signings now aren't just about identifying the right profile. It's about the marquee statement, you know, the marquee status that would go behind the signing. and to be able to approach one of the bigger 6 clubs or the top 6 clubs and take their players and put that into their team, that for them would represent ambition. But even if they're not successful in it and they lose Grealish, what that does is that kind of shows, oh, at least we were ambitious to go for that player. I mean, it's all well and good. I want a Ferrari, you know? And I could show ambitions by taking pictures next to a Ferrari showroom, but I ain't got the money in my bank, so I'm not getting a Ferrari, you know? Like, so what kind of an idiot do I look like on social media posting pictures of me stood next to a Ferrari garage? And then with the Buendia thing, they know that cash windfall's coming, so they can afford to put the more of the money up front to get Buendia. And at that point, we've gone, we don't want to engage in a bidding war. That's not the same as beating up transfer, because we could have carried that on. But
but not only that, I'm not going to add on to your point, because not only is it that, but the fact of the matter is you have a deal structure as well. Like the structure of the deal that they were offering. Like Villa, they've got a massive sell-on clause there. They're paying more up front, and they have more in bonuses as well. So like we've actually said, you know what, 40 mil, have him. He's all yours. But why are we engaging in a bidding war for a player that honestly needs to prove himself in the Premier League again? Because yes, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you can even look on our channel. We had a massive debate on Aouar versus Buendia, and I was always Hossam Aouar, because he's proven in the Champions League, in the Champions League, and not even just the. And he fits he's a better profile for us,
as well, isn't he? As well,
played for France, but the main point is the profile of the player is more suited to Arsenal.
Yeah,
he's more a left-handed side of a pivot. He's not someone that's going to be, or he can play a bit more advanced and say a left centre mid, Ceballos kind of role, but do it at a much higher level. So the profile is much more suitable to the club.
Yeah, no, I think as well, if you look at Buendia, whose profile fits someone that plays more on the right side that can operate as a number 10. Correct. In those positions, we've got Saka, you know, and then, you know, you could look at the fact that ESR could probably play anywhere across the front three, as could Martinelli as well. So why are we gonna break the bank and pay for Buendia on terms that are being dictated by what Aston Villa are willing to pay for a player who, in that position on the right and the central side, we have up and coming players for? Now, if we look in the centre of midfield and at right back, it's different. And
it's completely different.
If it was really down to the money, with people saying, "Oh yeah, well, Arsenal were just trying to do Arsenal things and save money,"
it's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of priorities.
Ben White, which we're perceiving as more of a priority, we're bidding 50 million for, and probably matching the personal terms that Buendia was expected to receive. So I don't like how Villa at the moment are trying. I see it as clout chasing.
Honestly, it's basically an attempt to try and unsettle a player. Basically, that's why I see it. I think maybe if they unsettle the player, maybe to try and sell him something, and maybe they can try and snatch him away. Because all these Villa fans I've heard is saying, "Oh, our project is amazing. We have owners are willing to spend, blah blah." So maybe it's a case of, look, if we can stall these contract talks, we can maybe get the player to try and force a move out. But if you look at reports, they've clearly said that he's going to sign a new contract and he's going to be using. I've got people on Villa channels and not Villa Twitter saying if he's not signed by the end of this week, I'm going to get a Birmingham City tattoo. I mean, come on, guys. Do you really think deals are going to go through that quickly? You're going to have to buy a house. You're going to have to talk personal terms. You're going to have to talk about fee with the club, talk with both managers. Like, transfers aren't just like that. They have to have a process. They have to have a way of going through things. So
yeah, exactly that. And I think he's going to renew his contract.
I mean, look, if you look at the contracts that we've been giving out, so you've got death row contracts, I like to call them, on Saka and Martinelli. Death row contract on Tierney. You've got as we've talked personally, I've told you about Richard Garlick and his influence in terms of being a top specialist in contract law, his pedigree of being a director of football at West Brom, and then the director of football relations at the Premier League itself. Like he this is what he does. Him and Tim Lewis are the main negotiators for these things, and you can tell that they're trying to change the way of doing things. They're trying to offer contract extensions for players to hold their value, or put players down for long-term contracts they want to keep. It's not just okay. Oh my God, signed a ting, do it now, because we've got nothing. We're moving away from that.
That's it, yeah. And I think Smith Rowe's going to resign. I think he's going to see players that we're being linked to and that we're bringing in, and he's probably going to buy into that further. I'm not really worried about this. It's just more.
No. It's annoying. It's like a mosquito you have to swat away, sort of thing.
That's it.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, moving on to that one from that story.
Yeah, for sure.
The next ones that we wanted to look at today, these concern players going out, or one player in particular, William Saliba. Last week. He was pulled out from representing France at the Olympics. I was looking forward to then seeing him in pre-season training. Then the news was breaking that he was seeking out a loan to Marseille. Now, it's caused a lot of furore and talking points within our fan base. It's attached to a lot of
for sure
agendas. I think, Arsenal have said at face value, this is going to be for his development and his development alone. Something that I think is reinforced by the fact that they've not put in any option to buy, although they might see keeping that out as a means of keeping his value as high as possible. But yeah, I think, there's just so much to unpack with this story. My thoughts, I want Saliba to at least have a chance in pre-season training to see what he could do. And I think that's something that was discussed quite a lot with, sort of the team and the news that was coming out with that. Obviously, that's not going to be the case. But, you can see at the other side of it, he's a young defender plying his way in the trade. And all it would take would be a few mistakes with our fan base at the moment for him to completely change his perception within the fan base. Curran, discuss, how this situation.
That's exactly what I wanted you to do, man. I wanted you to pull out this comment because, all right, so there's a lot to say about the Saliba situation. So, Gunner King, how old is William Saliba?
Saliba, he's 20 now, right?
20, correct.
Just 20 years old.
So how do you know how many centre backs at the age of 20 in the top 5 leagues last season got more than 1,000 minutes at in the Premier League, or in their league, or in competitions in the season? It's 4 of them. Not in the Premier League, in the 5 leagues. In the 5 leagues.
The 5 top European leagues. We're talking
there are
like
four players that are getting quality minutes so you're talking about starting and quality time, right? I think it's 4 or 5. George gave me that information. If it's 5, it's 5, but I'm pretty sure it's 4.
It's a small number,
it's a small number.
Yeah.
But my point is that we're sending him to a club that he wants to go to. Okay. Yeah. I would prefer him at the Saints. I prefer him at Newcastle. I get it, Premier League football. Improve his aerial ability, his toughness. He would have to learn to release the ball quick, because sometimes he dallies on the ball. You don't have that time in the Premier League. So I understand the uproar about him going to Marseille again. But again, you have to realize we're in a very unique situation with the player. It's not like this is a usual, send him on loan, this is fine. There's been a lot of behind the scenes nonsense, a lot of people trying to gripe either which way, a lot of unfortunate incidents, for example, his mother dying, and personal issues. And in terms of the players that he was falling into, the only reason I don't want him going to Marseille is because Matteo is going to go there, and we're going to discuss that later. But That's my only main issue with Marseille. I don't mind him going there, but I just don't want Guendouzi getting in his head and being like, look, why are you going back? Blah, blah, blah. It's the only reason why I don't want him going there. He can play Europa League football this season for Marseille. We can't even give them that. He'd be playing 10, 15, max 20 games this season. Mm-hmm. He's going to play 40. He's going to play 35 to 40 games for them. He's going to get a full season.
The thing is as well, I think, when you compare that to the playing in the Premier League, a league he doesn't know yet, at a club that perhaps, he has no affiliation with. I mean, people say Southampton. They took Minamino from Liverpool in January. And, he had a few injuries. He was probably promised game time. And because it wasn't an immediate impact or an impact near enough immediate enough to warrant walking into that first team, for one reason or another, he hasn't got a great deal of minutes. Now, if Minamino is going back to Liverpool now, and you're looking at his loan deal as from a perspective of success or failure, most people would say failure. His value's probably gone down. His stock has probably dropped, along with his confidence and his ability to see a pathway to Liverpool's first team. Well, I couldn't even get into Southampton's, because the Premier League, not just our fan base, but all of the Premier League teams are some of the least forgiving. I think the only ones I would equate to us in terms of unforgivingness is the top Spanish teams. So your Real Madrids and your Barcelonas, they will make or break a player in
100%.
Millifractions of a second, right? So I understand why he would want to go to a French club where his stock is high. He was put in the La Liga team of the season.
Ligue 1,
team of the season.
That's fine.
Based on going there in January, he clearly understands the pace of the game in France and the expectations. So you would bank on him playing more first team minutes for Marseille at Premier League level.
We're talking Ligue 1 games. We're talking Europa League games, Coupe de France games. There's going to be a lot of games for him to play, and it allows him to get reliable minutes. And this is the other thing I'm going to mention. This is the first time as an Arsenal player he's going to have a full season, because last season he was disrupted by the stuff going on the first half of the season, and obviously we've now realized that the loan, the Rennes loan, was not our fault. It was Rennes' fault in terms of not being able to negotiate the deal, and then eventually he went to Nice. And even with the Stade Rennes loan, he wasn't play a full season. This is the first time he's going to play a full season. And another thing I'm going to mention, guys, is if we can qualify for Europe, even the Champions League this season, do you really, really think that William Saliba is going to go, oh, I don't want to play for a Champions League club because of personal issues? I'm gonna leave and go play for, I don't know, Monaco or something. No, if we do our part, he does his part, there's going to be a coming together. And this whole issue about Saliba not being rated or not, no. It's very clear what Arteta's done here. It's the same thing he did with Willock. He's seen that there's a player here that is not up here, is not as good, and is not developed enough to start for the first team. So he's just gone, look, I want you at this club. I see the quality you have. I want you to go on loan. I want you to get game time, and I want you to come back and show me what I'm missing. Yeah. And if Saliba himself is someone that is expecting at 20 years old to come and just go, okay, that's it, I'm starting, I don't care what anyone says, doesn't matter, whatever, then he's not an Arsenal person. He's not someone that I would want at the club. You earn the shirt. You earn the ability to wear that shirt. It's not just given to you.
I definitely think that's crazy what you said about only 5 players that are 20 or younger in all of the top European division are actually getting a significant amount of first team minutes. Now, I've always said this, and I'll continue to say this, the central defense position is a unique position whereby a lot of what you need to know about awareness, positional sense, the ability to anticipate and read the game, you just don't learn that on the training pitch. Like the ability to be composed. These are all intangibles that invariably you have to learn on the job a lot more than in other positions. When you're an attacker, you know, and we spoke about this just before the show, when I was training to be an attacker, you could do dribbling drills. You could learn, you know, you could improve your shooting by practicing shooting drills. When you were talking about anticipation and awareness and reading the game, yeah, sure, you can do the drills on the pitch if you're a defender, but it's not quite the same, more so in this position than any other on the pitch, to actually do this on the pitch, to experience this in real time match moments. And this is why people talk about defenders peaking at a later age than attacking players, because they spend those formative years making those mistakes. And the toxicity levels in particular in our fan base, because of our current situation, is so high that one mistake will break you as a player. And when you're a young player and you're trying to feed on confidence to build yourself up and establish yourself further, you're not going to get that when every second you make a mistake, someone on social media making a meme out of you. So listen, we've said what we said about, you know, agendas. I don't believe Arteta has an agenda against this guy. I don't believe Martinelli is another player that he has an agenda against. No one talks enough about the cruciate ligament injury. Curran is a doctor who understands the medical nuances of the actual recovery involved, you know, from such an injury. And let me tell you, it's no joke. You know, my best mate also did the same thing. He had muscle wastage around his leg, where his leg was visibly smaller for 3 months afterwards, you know, and he had to get that back just to be able to walk on the thing, you know. So, you know, people just say things a little devoid or missing of context, and I don't think that this is an instance where there is, you know, an agenda against Saliba. I just think this is the best for his development at this time. And Uncle Laurie picks up a good point here.
So basically, so the last thing I'm going to say on the Saliba situation, and I'm going to let you finish, but the other thing I want to know is what top 4, nay, even top 6 club has a partnership of 2 defenders under the age of 23? Because you'll have Gabriel and Saliba. I want to believe that they can do it together, but like, just think about it. Just think about it. Centre back is the one position in the team, along with goalkeeper maybe, that you need experience. You need the ability to read a game. You need football intelligence. You need the ability to say, look, okay, the angles of crosses, the movement of players in the attacking third from the opposition. How do you read things? How are you covering for other players? You need that tactical intelligence. And you're not going to have that as a 20-year-old. I'm just sorry. You guys can talk about his ball striking ability and his ability to progress the ball, but you need the defensive awareness and the ability to say, look, on both sides of the pitch, you need the ability to say, I know what I'm doing and I'm secure in myself as a player to actually progress in terms of defensive awareness. So,
and I think Delete is a great example that he picked, you know, because not just for Juve. I mean, you look at Holland's game in Euro 2020, where he was sent off, you know, almost with a ball over the top being caught out of position and deliberately handballing it. You know, that cost his country, not just Juventus. You know, and that's something he's going to have to learn from. And look, I'm not here slandering Delete. He's a great player. Yeah, this is just the reality of young defenders. You know, that these mistakes are going to come and they're going to continue to come. You know, and these are things that you have to take into context when you're weighing up the Saliba situation. So, you know, I think, you know, you've definitely, you know, we've definitely hit the nail on the head. You know, obviously Tony here, he is a massive Rob Holding advocate. You know, and you know, he obviously believes that you know, your analysis is spot on, and I think it is as well. We just need to be careful how much we build up our young players in general, but especially this one as well.
Let me be clear as well. Like, I really do like William Saliba. I think he's a great ball progressing defender. Yeah. He's long. He's great with his feet. He needs to develop in some areas, but I'm not here as saying because if you look at my old tweets, all my formations in terms of next season, I had Saliba in them because I do like William Saliba. One of my best friends is called Saliba season, for God's sake. Like, if you're talking about like William Saliba, I like William Saliba. I just think that it's a case of what are we willing to risk in terms of William Saliba? Are we willing to just go, okay, screw it, send him, let's just do it? Or are we saying, look, it's a centre back. I mean, do you remember that quote from Arsene Wenger? If I play a young centre back, he's going to cost me points, even though he deserves the chance and he should be playing every week. But I know he's going to cost me points. But if I play a centre back at like a 24, 25, 26-year-old centre back, even though the younger centre back may deserve it, I know that centre back is someone that I can trust because he understands the game. Wenger always said centre backs do not become true centre backs until they're about 24 years old. You can't. It's too early for him.
It's just the idea of casting to the Wolves absolutely petrifies me, But look, it goes into the next story that we're looking at, or next series of ones. Tapsoba and Koundé are being considered as options at centre back. With Ben White. Apparently, we are struggling to agree.
Rubbish, rubbish, absolute rubbish.
I think this is absolute rubbish. Well, HJ90 does love fishing. Not gonna lie,
I love that guy, but sometimes you have to call. Hey, HJ, if you're watching this, all love my guy, but I just think you're fishing with this one a bit. But in terms of Tapsoba, Koundé. Okay, so let's be clear. Let's remember who Ben White is. Ben White is a 23-year-old centre-back who is English, who's played Premier League minutes, who's played Championships minutes, who both clubs that he's been at, both Leeds and Brighton, literally have called him one of the best players at their club. So if the other thing is, if you look at Ben White as a player, he is someone. He's not here to replace William Saliba, guys. He's here to replace David Luiz. We've just lost our best ball progressing midfield. See, I'm doing already midfield defender at the club. We've lost him. He's like you saw the level of drop off in terms of from Saliba to Silver Fox, but Holding. In terms of distribution and but let me get this straight. Holding is a very good one-on-one defender. He struggles sometimes in the air. I mean, people used to always meme him about Raheem Sterling, but it is what it is. He's a very good one-on-one defender, and when he's paired with Gabriel, he can be very effective. But if you have someone like David Luiz, who is someone that you can have, who is a technical leader, I want to make sure that's clear. He's a technical leader on that field. He's someone that can progress the ball into midfield. He's able to spray a pass to either wing or hand it off to a Xhaka or a Partey and get and progress the ball up the pitch. So if you're looking at someone like Ben White, that's exactly what he does. I mean, he's more right-hand side dominant because he's played in a 3 at Brighton. As the right hand side centre back. But if you look at his ball progression, he's someone that can run into midfield. He's very good one-on-one defensively. He's very good in terms of advancing play. He's good at getting the ball into the final third. He's good at distributing the ball. So why would you want someone else? And the other thing is, we're letting go of a lot of homegrown players this season, guys. We're letting go of a Bellerin. People forget Bellerin is homegrown, guys. Bellerin's homegrown. Maitland-Niles, we're letting go of maybe Holding. I don't know. I mean, with the Chelsea point, mate. So if you're telling me Chelsea want Ben White, why should he go to Arsenal? Well, how many centre backs do Chelsea have? I think they've got Thiago Silva, Rudiger. They've got
Christiansen,
Anderson, Zuma.
They've got that guy on loan, the other French guy that we were linked to, that they got on free.
Yeah, the name escapes me, but I know you're talking about. They've got a lot of players. Look, and Chelsea, right? Chelsea are someone that, they've had a good season and they've had a great season. They've had a great comeback from the Lampard days. at the Lampard era at the club. They've won a European Cup. Fair play to him. But if you look at the squad there, it's very packed with exactly. James just put it back exactly. He's going to be a bench warmer there. Why would he go to be a bench warmer?
I mean, that's it.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't. Guys, everything that we've just said about young players and needing those minutes to progress their game. Ben White at 23 is at that
age
point where he needs minutes. He doesn't need to do what a Ross Barkley did. When Ross Barkley moved from Everton
to Chelsea,
he was around the same age, and he was at that age in his life where he needed those minutes that he was getting at Everton very easily and rapidly. That's where his meteoric rise as a teenager and into his early 20s came from. Where Ross Barkley's career is tapered off is when he went to Chelsea, where he is just another cog in a big machine where they need results right now. They are not willing to give young players a chance and to be patient and to wait for them to make mistakes, because that is the culture at Chelsea with managers and players. So for me, and look, I'm not trying to slander Chelsea here. They've obviously got a successful team, but their success is built on success right now, not tomorrow. It hasn't been. Arsenal have a history of keeping an eye on the future. We have a history of blooding in youngsters and giving them a clear pathway to first team minutes. So why would he be a bench warmer?
No, and Charles as well, who's saying that you should be a wet bench warmer.
So you're telling me, Charles, that he is already currently at the state to dislodge a Thiago Silva, Rudiger, who had a very good tournament with Germany as well, in spite of them going
Christensen.
He had a good tournament. He's still there with Denmark. He's playing first team minutes there. They're all Champions League winners. They all established themselves.
It's not even about Champions League winners. They've earned the trust. They've earned the trust of the manager.
Tuchel, exactly. I just don't see Tuchel bringing him in and saying to him, "I am going to put one of these players on the bench for you." He plays a back three system. Yeah, I think.
I don't even think that he's going to continue with that next season. I think he's trying to do. I mean, obviously the degree of the trophies are different, but he's trying to do what Arteta did last season. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to move to a transitional system to get the best out of these players, and then he's going to try and chop and choose who he wants. I'm not saying they're similar at all, because obviously one's the FA Cup, one's the Champions League, and so, I mean, if you look at what Tuchel has done in his prior jobs, he's always played 4-2-3-1 at both PSG and at Borussia Dortmund. And he's only played this because these are the players. He has a multitude of centre backs, guys. He has so many centre backs.
And the thing is, for Ben White, sorry, very quickly, for Ben White, if he was to look at the story of these two young players, would that instill him with confidence?
No, God, no.
The assurance that Chelsea might give him that he'll get first team football, because when Hudson-Odoi's contract was renewed, I'm sure he was promised more first team minutes, and well, look how that panned out last season.
No, I mean, look, if I'm a player, I'm not gonna. There's no banter here. Well, firstly, Ben Chilwell, but secondly,
I mean, Ben Chilwell was a much more established player.
Not even
miles more established than Ben White is. Ben White's had one season in the Premier League. Chilwell had multiple with Leicester, and he was much more of an established Premier League player than Ben White is now currently. Ben Chilwell was far more established as a player when he left Leicester.
For sure.
To go to Chelsea.
The other thing is I'm going to mention to you is,
and there's less contention in that position.
Yeah, less contention. But what I'm trying to say
everywhere, and I'm enjoying it.
The thing with Ben White right now is, Charles, you should get this right. He needs minutes. Like, he needs minutes. You can't. He needs to be having guaranteed minutes. He needs to be in a guaranteed starting position, and he's not going to have that at the Chelsea at the moment. If you're looking, and the other thing he just said, why is he hasn't got the confidence to play at the back, which is why he wants Ben White. Well, Ben White has been playing in the back three the entire season. So where is the logic there? I mean, sure, I can see it, but mate, you have Ross Barkley because of the exact situation we're talking about. If anyone should understand what we're talking about here, it should be you, because you got Ross Barkley because he wasn't getting minutes. So that's how that's emerged. So it's a bit of a silly point, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
exactly that. You know, and look, and I think Tadsova's a good player to be linked to as backup. Some guys have talked about wanting him more.
60 million, 60 to 70 million. I'm sorry, but we have a homegrown England international here. I like Tapsoba, but I think he's great in the air. He's great progressing the ball. He's great as a defender. But look, the main thing with Ben White is it looks. What do I always tell you, GunnerKing? I say to you, I don't believe anything until it's on the website. I've said it. I've said it on Ball of Passion. I've said it on Twitter. I don't believe anything until there's a shirt in someone's hand or a hand on someone's back and a pen in their hand. I don't care about any of these Twitter rumors, ITKs, even Sky Sports with that guy, the bald guy who's going on about. I'm sure you saw. Oh, we think this, we think that. I don't care what you think. Give me some reports. But the point that I'm trying to make is that anything can happen. Maybe he goes to Chelsea, fine. But all signs are showing that he's agreed personal terms. He's signed. He's not signed, but he's agreed personal terms. A fee has been agreed, and we're waiting for the Euros to finish.
And the thing is, with this point as well, Ben White has been watched with LFC and Man United for the last season or two. He has.
Then why in the bid?
Because the same reason that we are harping on about here. They don't want to give him the assurances of first team football. They can't give him, you know, because he's not like he's still rough around the edges and needs to be developed, you know. So for him, you know, it's probably more important that he can be assured first team minutes than it is to go to a big club. That move to a big club is always going to be there for a defender at 23 years old, you know. And who's to say he does well here, you know, in a few seasons, you know, those big clubs come knocking, the right amount of money comes in for everyone involved, and he gets a big move or whatever. You know, it's not what I would want to see personally, but at least, you know, it's less of a risk than going to a big club now, not getting those minutes, and then his career stagnating, you know. So, you know, it's laughable. The only thing you guys have for you is that you get more minutes, Ross Barkley pants, and I don't support Chelsea. Well, yeah, I mean, look, irrespective of who you support, I think the points, you know, with the Ross Barkley comparison, you know, and Ben White's situation still stand. You know, as Curran said, we've agreed personal terms. I think it's just hammering out the fee. I don't think it's a case of the money. It's how the fee is actually structured that is being discussed at the moment. And all of the parties involved expect that, you know, to be agreed. But obviously with, you know, the size of the transfer in terms of the money involved, with the player being at the Euros himself, and with England, you know, obviously progressing through the tournament, and that probably being at a detriment to agreeing certain facets of the deal with the player. And I think, you know, I'm not really worried. You know, I expect.
No, I mean, look, the thing is,
we'll move on to
I mean, we'll move on to a different target. I mean, Charles, I know you're a Villa fan. Don't worry about it. I know you're not a Chelsea fan. But the point I'm trying to make with this this whole Ben White deal is, I don't care in reports. Just show me either someone sign him or we sign him. I'm fed up of doing these he said, she said kind of debates. It's just sort of, let's see who we get. This is why I struggle having these transfer talks in beginning of July. Like, who cares right now?
So
it's very early.
You know, and you know, Charles, credit to you. You're a Villa fan. Obviously, you want to see us in the mud at the moment. You know, I mean, when you're a big club, you don't need to worry about what other clubs are doing, to give yourself shine. You know, that's not for us. But moving on anyway, story-wise, you know, it's looking like, and I have seen pictures of Guendouzi actually out in Marseille now.
Yeah.
A 1-year loan fee with an obligation to buy, right? I thought it was buying him outright, but I mean, that works if there's an obligation involved in that transfer. Guendouzi, look, to be clear, a lot of people in my circles know my thoughts on him. Talented player. I think there were a lot of issues. They weren't all his fault, so to say, but for one reason or another, a lot happened, and I think we need to draw a line under that. He needs a new environment as much as we need a new player in that position.
Well, he's had multiple new environments, and he hasn't really worked, does it? So, look, I appreciate Matteo Guendouzi for the one season he was here. He had a very good, was it 3 or 4 games? I think there was a Villa game he played very well, and there's a couple of games that he did well. Fine, great for it. So, but what he's displayed in terms of character, in terms of the impact on the culture of the club, it's very disrespectful. He's praised. He's gone and tweeted at Unai Emery for winning the Europa League. Doesn't care about his own teammates winning the FA Cup. He's gone after Burnley players and had issues with players off the field. In Dubai, he had issues with David Luiz and Willian. He's had issues consistently throughout his career. If you look at what the Hertha Berlin manager said about him, he said he acts like he's still in puberty. Yeah. Like, he's consistently, every single manager this guy has come up against has had issues with him, and people can call it passion or people can call it whatever they want. But the issue is you're a professional footballer. You're paid thousands and thousands of pounds to kick a ball about every week, and it's a very admirable. I love this game. I love watching players. I'd have no issue with the money they get, but if you're going to pay that money, you act like a professional. Yeah. You don't act like whatever. Like, we've had issues with players in the past that have done this. We've had like Sanchez or other issues in the past, and I can't stand it. I don't care what you're doing in your personal life, but when you're on the pitch and when you talk about us as a club, you show respect. You represent us on that pitch.
And the thing is, what you were saying about it being with managers and players on the training ground, it's also both clubs been on the pitch. At Hertha Berlin, he was arguing with other players. I think there was a player that missed the chance, and because Gunner Express did clear this up for me, that it was a player that missed the chance. And the rest of the team were getting onto this striker and basically saying he had to do better to score the chance. Understandable, but the thing is, you're a player that's on loan, number one, so you're not one of the established team members, and you are a younger player in that team as well, number two. So my argument would be, you've already come with a reputation as someone that has gone on the pitch playing for us against Brighton, grabbing someone by the throat and explaining how much more money you made than all of those professionals put together, which wasn't factual either. So if you've come with that misdemeanor in your catalogue, is it your place to then be on loan as a young player and be gestating one of your own teammates for missing a chance? If the established team members that are permanent team members want to be doing that, fair enough. But it can be argued. I don't want to definitively say yes or no. It isn't.
No. Look,
it should be, but when you bring into context what he's on loan there for in the first place, because of these misdemeanors that did also involve being on the pitch and having altercations with either your own players or opposition players, you should, in my opinion, and it is my opinion, I just think for one reason or another, whether there is justification or not, you shouldn't be involved with any kind of set to, be it with your own players or opposition players, when you are on loan at another club in those circumstances.
I mean, for me, what it is was just to really get in there. For me, what it is I've supported this club since I was 8 years old. And I've seen players who are nasty. I've seen the likes of Patrick Vieira. I've seen all these type of players. But every player that is put on our shirt realizes that they're putting on the shirt for the people in that stadium and the people in the club, in terms of the staff and everyone. It's a family and it's a culture. You respect that, and he has not respected that consistently, and that's where I draw the line. That's where it is for me. I don't care if you want to be a complete brute in terms of getting in Neil Maupay's face, or but the minute you start showing that you are in for yourself and in for your own agenda rather than putting on the club on your back, or getting the club to where it needs to be, then that's it. It's done. There's no argument there. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if you agree with me, but that's how I feel.
I'm pretty much spot on as well. And, you know, like a lot of people say, well, it's young players, and young players have that rush of blood, that sort of ability to be impetuous about them. But why are we not saying the things about the likes of Saka, ESR, Martinelli? Why aren't Chelsea saying the same things about Mason Mount, about Billy Gilmore, you know, who sometimes is on the bench? Billy Gilmore, you know, he's got his move to Norwich now. You know, why aren't Liverpool saying the same about Curtis Jones?
Why didn't Rashford? Rashford is the perfect example.
Rashford at United, Greenwood, he had his misdemeanor, but the difference was when he was involved in Iceland Gate, when him and Foden broke protocol, they both got their heads down and let the football doing the talking, and they've shown that they've learned and matured from their misdemeanors in a way that Guendouzi hasn't. You know, so I hear a lot of people, and I think the Serge Gnabry situation always gets brought into context when people are like, look, he's going to be the next Gnabry. You know, he's going to leave. We're going to see him progress, go to a big club, and become, you know, sort of this world-class player. He very may well do. But you know what? When Chelsea got rid of Salah, when they got rid of KDB, you know, when they got rid of Lukaku, you know, they didn't sit there and lambast what could have been when they saw what these players went on to do with their careers. They just brought in other players, and, you know, life went on for them. Chelsea still remained and continued to be a successful club. They've got Serge Gnabrys of their own. Every big club has Serge Gnabrys in it. You know, players that for one reason or another, one circumstance or another, at a young age, basically, it didn't work out, and they went to another club, another environment, another manager who was better at working and getting more out of that player. That player went on to be world class. Big clubs move on from that shit. You know, whereas because of what happened with Gnabry and the lack of success that we've had of recent years, we are comparing every young player that might leave to the Gnabry they might go on to be, when they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole Gnabry situation, there's a miscommunication, I think, between the fans and what they think about the whole Gnabry situation. Look, Gnabry was someone that came in at the wrong time to be. I mean, I mean, if you remember, what was our squad when Gnabry came through? We had like the likes of Walcott and Sanchez on the wings. It wasn't Ozil as well, but like I'm talking about, sometimes elite players come through at the wrong time for your club, and that's okay. It's okay to not like. People go on about things like what happened with Anelka back in the day. Like he was great at other clubs, for example. Well, the situation just didn't align with us. It's that simple. You do
He had to learn from that situation. You know he had to take stock of what went wrong at Arsenal, and he had to mature as a person. And the only way that really that would have happened with Anelka was with someone drawing a line,
for sure,
and not appeasing certain elements to his behavior. And he talks. I don't know if anyone's watched this series. His
the bio,
He talks about it himself. You know, he says, "Look, you know, I hold my hands up. You know, I was young and I was dumb and pretty impetuous. You know, like a lot of the things I was doing, you know, at Arsenal Football Club, you know, were things that I look back on and I regret massively. And, you know, look, he went on, he matured. You know, Arsenal went on. We did great things. Yeah, a lot more success after that. We have had a lot more successful strikers after that, and we'll continue to have a lot more successful strikers.
Exactly.
After that. You know, if the mentality isn't right, you know, in the player, you know, okay, young players need a bit more kind of a wider berth, but there's got to be limits, no matter what your age. And for me, I just think, you know, there's been too many things with Guendouzi, too many things.
Name one club in English football that has a better legacy of bringing through elite strikers. I don't think you can. I mean, Rooney was at United, fair play, but if you look at the likes of Bergkamp, Henry, Van Persie, when Sanchez played up top, Sanchez, Aubameyang obviously wasn't brought up there, but we have a history of our club through the last 20, 25 years of having elite strikers. Yeah. We are a club that is based around feeding our top men, and we have a legacy of elite strikers in this league. And I still maintain, I don't care what anyone says. Thierry Henry is still the best striker in the league, in the history of this league. I don't give a shit what anyone says. At me all you want, I don't care. But
and I think, we need to rein that in a lot. I think I mean,
it's a good point. Lord Bentner, Marouane Chamakh, elite men. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the clubs. That's it. I think life will go on after Guendouzi. It's unfortunate how it happened. It wasn't all his fault. No, God, no. He has had a kid now. Maybe that will level him out, as he grows older. But I just think for where Arsenal are right now, he's a flight risk, and we can't afford to take it. But look, I mean, Curran, it's been great having you on today.
Thanks, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and guys, tune in to sort of Ball Over Passion, Curran, and the rest of the team.
Appreciate it, man.
It's first rate. And I mean, I'm happy to, obviously have you on more shows in the future.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have you on as well, mate. Just before we go, we have released a podcast today. If you go to the Twitter, it's in we just released one today about the culture of Arsenal and what it means to us. So if you want to check that out, please do. Thank you, GunnerKing, man. It's been a pleasure. I hope to get you on the same on ours as well. It's always been a pleasure talking with you, mate. Yeah,
I mean, that sounds good. And that probably ties in with a lot of what we've been saying about the culture at the club, and what sort of culture we're trying to recreate, the successful culture I'd expect of past successful Arsenal teams. So I'll be sure to give that a listen. Everyone else, make sure you do it well.
I just remembered one quick thing. I'm just going to quickly before we go, just give me one quick thing. So what I'm trying to get about with a lot of these Guendouzi issues, Saliba, whatever, the culture at our club has been so divided, and we need to stop looking at things as one side or the other. Every situation has two sides in it, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. Yeah. You can't just look at things as like this. You know what I mean? We have to. I was saying to GunnerKing before, we have to come together as a fan base, like Liverpool have. Like even if in the early 2010s when they were struggling, they came together as a fan base. Our fan base seems to want to go like this. And yes, I understand social media. People want to get through their agendas. People want to get through their clicks and likes. But there's a history at our club, and we're going to go through on this last podcast. And you have to realize that there's a truth in the middle somewhere there. I just wanted to make sure I got that out, because it's very, very important to get that out.
We didn't get as much a chance to speak about that as well, because I think with Saliba's situation, we're seeing a lot of agendas where it's like, it shows that Arteta can't handle youngsters, or this shows that him and Edu are inept, and this shows that Holding's better or worse, or Ben White, wait till he comes and he makes a mistake so I can say I told you so. None of that is necessary. Like let's just let's just chill a bit. It's early June, it's early July, it's early doors. Arsenal are going to do some great business this summer. Just you wait. But Curran, it's
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man.
And I'd love to have you on again soon.
Sub to the channel, guys. It's a good guy right next to me.
Make sure you do, guys. Sub to Ball Over Passion as well. Take it easy, guys.
Yep.